Hey there, gang. So with the Halloween event now in season, I wanted to take some time and make a video today talking about one rare and exclusive add-on that is only available during the Halloween event, the Blighted Serum. Now, for those who haven't seen this add-on or used it before, it's very unique compared to probably any other game mechanic that has been added to Killer, right? When you think about how the events are exclusive to the event, you can use this outside of the event. And in fact, it was even available before they started having separate game modes with its own, little quirks and modifiers. Now, looking at what this add-on and how it works is you basically replace your power with Blight's power for a singular rush. This rush is available at the start of the trial, and you also get a rush every time you hook a survivor. Now, I want to be very specific on the language. When I say replaces your power, this is because you cannot use your power while your rush is available. This is a pretty significant downside, but I think balances the add-on, right? Because if you had the universal flexibility to choose when you wanted to rush and when you wanted to use your power, it would probably be game-breakingly broken on a lot of killers, Clown included. Being able to basically get a hit and then use the blighted rush in addition to your bottles when it was convenient, being able to stack the synergy of the haste itself on top of your bottles, right? Definitely, even from the perspective of Clown, would be very, very strong and probably beyond what would be necessary for the game, even if it was limited to only being used one time a year, right? That's one thing too, by the way. I think I said a couple times now, you can only use this add-on one time a year. Survivors, they get access to a medkit add-on, which, I don't know if you may have seen that in your matches. I believe it gives 5% haste and consumes the medkit, but this add-on can be used year-round. So it's a bit of a shame that you can't use this add-on on Killer year-round. I do feel like, again, that the downside of it replacing your power is a very good countermeasure for the add-on as far as keeping it balanced, because this is something that you can heavily abuse, right? Like, let's say, for example, you're going against Clown. All Clown can do with the Blighted Serum when it is active is reload his bottles. Other than that, he's Trapper, right? So you can really, with the increased density of the pallets, you can abuse that fact. You can punish killers who sit on their Blighted Serum and are looking to, say, get an injury without using it and then close that distance between the survivor after the fact, right? That's one of the really good ways of using this add-on if you are able to somehow do it in the current pallet density meta, is that you can get a very quick second hit and down a survivor if they give you the first hit relatively easy. Sometimes survivors do greed. They don't like to run to their pallets early. They don't pre-drop. They, do all types of decision makings that it feels like in the current meta you don't really need to do anymore. Like 2 to 3 years ago, you kind of did need to greed more pallets more than you do now. There's just so many pallets and generators go so quickly and hook timers last so long that if you are greeting pallets in the big 2025, it's kind of like, what are you doing? Am I right? But that's kind of besides the point. This add-on, it's while you can use it in that way, the best way to use the Blighted Serum, if I'm going to be truly honest, is probably just to counter pre-running. It's a very good add-on for that too. You can get right on top of a survivor because you're moving at 9.2 meters per second for 3 seconds. That is the logistics behind Blighted Serum and how it works. You are literally moving about 28 meters or so, or something close to that, 27.6 meters in the span of 3 seconds. So compare that to what you would be if you were just walking forward as an M1 killer. It's going to take you like 15 to 20 seconds to close that distance. And by that point, there are going to be so many tiles beyond where they otherwise would have been that you're going to be chasing them at a different tile, which may or may not be stronger. Especially since if you're giving them that decision, right, the virtue of choosing what tile they want to play, because there is so much distance, and they could even choose to not take advantage of that distance if they have a stronger tile in front of them, right? That's at least something that you're reducing your chase time by virtue of seruming into that and forcing them to play that tile, right? There is a benefit to that. And that's kind of what I'm trying to say here when it comes to how this add-on is a good add-on. I would personally put Blighted Serum in the B tier, simply because of just how it makes up for the flaws in Clown's kit, both in the pre-running position, but also just like having to chain health states and move between tiles. If, again, by virtue of you having Blighted Serum, you can reduce some pretty critical chase times that do matter in that moment. One of the highlights that y'all are going to see, it was because of Blighted Serum used in this way that I was able to snowball a win, you know, without saying anything more than that. So I do really like this add-on. I look forward to it every year. I typically like to pair it with cheap gin bottle. I feel like with this add-on, since this add-on is meant to compensate for a flaw in Clown's kit, which is the pre-running and the, you know, just the distance disparity that sometimes occurs within chases, that you need to have an add-on for when you do close that distance that makes your chases faster. You could think of this as like an anti-looping add-on, right? So something like cheap gin bottle, even either 15%, right? Garsh makeup kit could even substitute, especially since chaining styles is still very relevant, especially more nowadays with the increased pallets. Really good survivors are going to be looking to chain their tiles, so having Garsh makeup kit for that reason also puts it, you know, in this category of being a good add-on to take for this reason, right? So you could definitely replace cheap gin bottle with Garsh makeup kit, you know, again, like I said, either 15%. The point being, though, is you don't want to run Blighted Serum, in my opinion, with something like kerosene can to block windows of opportunity, or something like Starling Feather to try to have more bottle spam and just like more proactive bottle placement. All these add-ons will do is just set you behind in the numbers. And the numbers are what really matters when it comes to playing Clown. Now, I will say the recent buff did reduce some of that reliance that Clown otherwise would have had on needing to take add-ons like Cheap Gin Bottle, either 15% Garsh Makeup Kit, but at the same time, we also now have more pallets. So in a meta where there were more dead zones, I very much would agree with the logic of running Blighted Serum with something like these utility add-ons, right? But the problem here is that once you, well, not really Flask of Bleach, once you do close that distance, the issue is, can you secure the hit? Because DBD is all about numbers, and if you just simply give yourself utility and fall behind on the numbers, that's not really helping you out, right? So that's just my thoughts when it comes to what types of add-ons I would use. Now, when looking at what types of perks you could run, I mean, y'all, you could run this add-on combo with anything. This add-on combo is not reliant on running a non-meta build. You know, you could say go over here and you could run something like Dead Man Switch with Corrupt, right? You could even go Zanchin with the amount of pallets. You could even do something there. And you could also go Pain Res. So this is also something that you could run with this add-on combo that would work very well. But the builds that I chose to run, I like running haste builds with the serum since it is used in such a limited time, right? I want to play the most into the add-on and the speed. And for that reason, the perks that I like to use are Save the Best for Last, Rapid Brutality, Play with Your Food, and Hex Nothing But Misery. Hex Nothing But Misery is probably a surprise to some people, and we'll kind of get to that in a minute. You very well could replace this with like any other perk. This one's probably the most flexible. But what I really like about running Save the Best for Last and Rapid Brutality is that in the event that you do happen to injure a survivor while Blighted Serum is still available, you can take that 5% haste on top of the fast recovery from Save the Best for Last. You can then pump that into a serum, close dramatically more distance faster, and you put survivors sometimes in a rough position where now they're caught out of position. I have, because of Save the Best for Last with Blighted Serum, used the serum afterward, right, to beat a survivor to a window and body block it. Now what do? They're caught out in a dead zone, and my pottles are now available after a brief second, little period of recovery, and I just down them. So Blighted Serum, again, right, very, very good when you are able to both save it, but also made better through perks like Save the Best for Last and Rapid Brutality, which is also why I do like to bring Play With Your Food. Play With Your Food, if you haven't seen my videos talking about it in depth, this is a form of reflexive protection for Save the Best and Rapid Brutality, Save the Best for Last, because what it does is it pushes the obsession away from you. It discourages their involvement with you at a macro level. It more puts them on gen duty if they want to ensure that they're not helping you kill their teammates, right? Because that 5% haste does not go away when you throw your bottles. It stacks with your Blighted Serum, and it goes a very long way when it comes to downing the non-obsessions. And I want to really, really heavily emphasize that. You don't need 2 to 3 stacks of Play With Your Food to get a lot of value out of this in Chase. Sometimes all you need is a single stack of Play With Your Food. And the way I almost like to think about it is one stack of Play With Your Food is one health state. If you especially are able to initiate chases with non-obsessions who never healed from a previous tag, and you have one stack of Play With Your Food, that is going to be one of the biggest ways that you can snowball off of this perk from just one stack, right? So do not underscore or discount this perk. Again, when looking at save the best for last, right? Since survivors are going to be throwing themselves at you, it's not a matter of you having to go out of your way to get those stacks of play with your food. Play with your food is either going to be given to you for free when survivors come in to try to force a 1v2 or 1v3 situation when you're focused on one of their teammates that is more vulnerable, and or you're going to have a consolation in the event that you are pressuring an area of the map that doesn't have any non-obsessions, so you're walking away with something for when you do chase a non-obsession, right? Walk to an area of the map, you only find the obsession, get that 5% haste, go to a different area of the map, start a chase with a non-obsession, get that first tag easier because of that 5% haste, and or if it's during the middle stage of the game, if they're still injured, you get a much, much faster down. Which, going on to that point, right, what if that survivor's on death hook? What if they're on their second hook? What if their teammates are also relatively out of position on an area of the map where you can quickly hook and then go for them, right? There are so many ways where play with your food is just so beneficial in manners that a lot of survivors just simply do not expect. I have, because of this perk, put some survivors in mental disarray where they straight up in front of me just don't run. I'm talking about the obsessions literally will give me a free tag, but they won't even run away from me simply because they don't want to give me a stack to play with your food. They know that running initiates a chase. That's how you give the killer a stack, right? So if you simply just don't run, he will never gain a stack of play with your food. They're also, again, playing into the possibility that I don't want to injure them because I don't want to lose stacks of save the best for last, right? And that is, when it comes to save the best for last and countering it as the obsession, that is why it's so important that you try to remove those stacks early. Because once the killer gets 6 to 8 stacks of save the best for last, I don't really care so much if a survivor is going to try to just pretend like I'm not going to hit them, because the reality in a situation like I previously described, where a survivor is just walking around me, trying not to initiate the chase and presuming I'm not going to hit them, I am going to hit them. They're probably going to run after that, after the fact, right? I'm only going to lose 2 stacks. If I go from 8 to 6, that's not a big deal. If I go from 6 to 4, that also probably cannot be a big deal. But I'm going to be taking an injury. I'm going to be gaining a stack to play with your food. I'm still going to have relatively decent stacks of save the best for last, right? You get what I'm saying? So ultimately, really great combo running these 3 perks together. Now, Hex Nothing But Misery, this is probably the perk you could consider swapping in your builds if you want to run these 3 here and you don't like this perk. I know a lot of people don't like this perk. I'm particularly not the biggest fan of it. To my understanding, I believe it was buffed from 10 seconds to 15 seconds of hindered from how it used to be when I made my previous videos on it. It's okay, not very great. I do think that when you're playing the less sweatier lobbies, this does kick in and provide much more value, especially with the Blighted Serum. Remember that because they are slow, they're not making as much distance, and if the whole point of Rapid Brutality and Save the Best for Last is to reduce the amount of distance survivors gain after an injury, the idea here was this would just be the best final pairing for numbers-wise, right? Closing the distance between survivors if I manage to save my Blighted Serum, using it in that way, And worst case scenario, if I don't have Blighted Serum available, it does still help with Clown and his bottles, right? Having that extra 5 seconds of 5% hindered does mean that it is likely going to be active in more situations compared to before, because beforehand, when you had a 10-second duration of 5% hindered, not only was a lot of that going to be lost during that sprint burst window that survivors get after injury, but also the weapon recovery, right? So killers as a whole lost a lot of distance, even Clown included. And this would be especially more so true when, again, the extra pallets. So just different thoughts on what you could do here. And that's also my different thoughts on my builds. I hope y'all really enjoy this kind of early commentary. And like I said, I've got 2 matches upcoming using a build just like this. If you do want to swap and try something a little bit different, another idea too, I did also want to mention that's really fun. One real quick last suggestion. You could pair Save the Best for Last, Rapid Brutality, Blood Favor, and Undying. This is a really mean combo that I have also ran, but I don't have any highlight matches to share with you guys today. But when you do run Blood Favor and Undying with Save the Best for Last and Rapid Brutality, if a survivor gives you that early tag while the serum is active, like I've been talking about, you are blocking all of those pallets. You are very likely getting a hit. They could find a window, because the thing about the extra pallets is it also generates tiles in general, so there are going to be more jungle gyms, which means there are going to be more windows, right? But the point being is that you do get easier hits because of this, and it just feels mean. So I do kind of want to mention that. But yeah, you know, hope y'all really appreciate this, you know, kind of early description. And upcoming, got a couple highlights. Let me see here. Shit, I actually don't have everything. Here we go. How have the games been anyway? I mean, some of them have been alright, but the thing about DBD is like, when DBD's bad, it's because the shit that like goes wrong is really bad. Like, it's really stupid. You know what I mean? It's not like a little oopsie whoopsie. It's like, what is this stupid shit? Right? So that's kind of why a lot of times I find myself getting really pissed, because I feel like in situations I shouldn't be in. I can maybe make this. If not, the game didn't have the dumb fucking quirks that it has at times, you know? They're kind of funny. I do like them like that. Let's see. Oh, please don't do it. You know, if I body block her, she can't get the sabo off, because that's what she's trying to do right now. That's why I didn't hit her, you might be wondering. The pink was because I expected her to do that. Now she can't play the LT, she has to abandon. Let's fucking go, man. Someone's literally outside. I feel like I heard footsteps on the snow. That's why I'm not carrying outside to hook outside, because normally I would hook aggressively. I swear I heard footsteps. Crow there tells me that someone can't be there. Oh, beautiful. Normally I would consider chasing that, but she is the obsession. I think I actually get this. She should have gone for that pallet. She literally had a guaranteed pallet spawn. Probably didn't know that. We're already up there. Oh, that's a crazy long time. Well, how's it going there, Carson? Welcome in, or welcome back. I don't want to serum too early. You're such a bitch. Well, I get fucking some different stacks off of you. Come back here. Hey, get the fuck out of here. No. Oh my gosh. I don't know how. I don't know how. I don't know how, but we're okay, gang. I want to kick this gen. Part of why I want to kick this... Thought I'd have more time. Of course, he's throwing pumpkins. I'm not gonna fucking tunnel that. Oh. No! How do I... Bro, the fucking snowball. Snowpile. How do I not have any more bottles? Whoa. We're good, we're fine, gang. She's the one with the beamer, I think, too. So we are fine here. I'll just sit right there. It's a kind message. Thank you, Carson. Welcome back. Did I just see someone or am I crazy? Shit. Oh man, let's fucking go! No, 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 don't do it. Remember, she's got fucking dead art. Oh shit. Don't do it. You better run! Smart. You got a window here, though. Or does she? Oh, that was fucking clean. Alright, good fucking shit. GG's, gamers. Bro, if I got power struggled. Alright, here we go. This is a pretty nice variation of the build, I feel like. Right? Instead of Blood Favor and Undying, which can get cleansed. I mean, technically nothing but Misery gets cleansed too, but oh shit. I hope survivors can't fit through this. What even is this? I want a Mori, and I'm afraid of power struggle. Yeah, that's kind of awkward. I'm afraid of power struggle from the bots. And you're wondering, if people are wondering, why don't you just abandon? Because it affects your kill rate. You actually do need to kill all the bots. My bad, gang. Ain't no way we're fucking doing this. Bro, she's gonna make me kick the fucking pallet. Maybe I probably didn't need to. I could've just waited. This is why I hate this base kit bullshit. Holy shit, come back here. Killing my statistics. Oh my fucking... I'm literally not kicking this pallet. Hey, Life Kitty, how you doing? Fucking swear, dude. If I eat DS, okay, I would swear I thought I was about to eat DS as well. That would have just been the like... Oh, man. Dude, I didn't kick that pallet from 18 years ago, okay? And the bot is wall hacked. You gotta give me... Alright, check this out, check this out. That's with the pumpkin right there. See, that's what I was trying to kick pumpkins for. I wanted to kick the pumpkins, get that haste with the rush. Oh, man. But hey, even without it, it was great. So what really makes this match so great, in my opinion, is not just how much of an influence that Blighted Serum had on me winning, but also the manner by which it did that. It would be one thing if it were an add-on like, let's say, Flask of Bleach or either 15%, which would simply enhance my power and would allow me to do what I'm already doing slightly better. Instead, like I mentioned, it compensates for some type of inherent flaw and or adds a different way that you're able to play as Clown, assuming that you are able to utilize it properly. And that is, like I mentioned earlier, right? Probably one of the biggest difficulties when it comes to using this add-on is knowing how to use it, because it replaces your power. You're essentially Trapper with, out his traps until you use the serum. And then afterwards you can use your bottles, right? But assuming you are able to do that in a way in which that you aren't falling behind in your chases, it ends up extending, or rather, it ends up decreasing the times of your chases. You're able to down survivors faster because you are removing that otherwise the downside Clown would have if you did have a different add-on, right? Because normally, if you don't have Blighted Serum, you get that first injury, a survivor takes a speed boost, they chain to a tile, and they are going to be able to reach that tile because the speed at which you would close that gap is going to be significantly longer than if you had Blighted Serum. You recover from your successful weapon hit animation, and you just rush right into them, right? So that is something that I played the most into when it came to both my power and also the serum when I had it available. I used it in not just one particular way, I used it in multiple different manners in order to down survivors faster, play off of the current geometry of the map, right? What tiles we were at, and the situation I was in. And I would say again that it was because of Blighted Serum that I was able to win this match. And not even just so much that, it was the manner in which I did. If I didn't have Blighted Serum, I probably would not have been able to slug for the 4K. I would not have had that win condition. I may or may not have had faster chases conventionally, right? But that is only really up in the air, especially again with all of the extra pallets. And as I just mentioned a minute ago, being able to use the serum to deny certain pallets that are going to be closer, emphasis on closer, right? That is something that you would not have without the serum, and that is something that is reducing the time of my chases overall, so thus in effect giving me more benefit than running one of these other add-ons. I am performing better in the grand scheme of things in my matches objectively, not through gimmick, but through the influence of this extra, you could say, right? The functionality that comes from this, even though it has the downside, right, of replacing my power until I use it. Because when utilized properly, the downside of not being able to use Clown's bottles is ineffectual. That's the whole premise here. It's ineffectual, and it becomes a benefit, reducing your chase times because of compensating for the weakness. But I think I've kind of come full circle on that point. But again, right, how did it help me in this match, in particular with my chases? I used it to close pre-run distance when survivors would unhook early. I used it in order to deny survivors from certain window vaults, right? It created that 4K slug win condition that I also previously mentioned a minute ago. And that is what I really thought was so great here. And another point, too, that I didn't mention as well, is that I did not kick any pallets. Yes, I don't know if any of y'all noticed, but there were no pallets kicked until after everyone had DC'd. I did not know that the bots would be able to self-unhook. I thought that, with the slug being so close that, that unhook would have been disabled. And it was only when I was chasing a bot that I ever kicked a pallet this whole match. So really kind of just put that into perspective, right? This build with the Blighted Serum meant that I was able to, even in the big 2025 with the current pallet density, I was able to win this match without kicking any pallets. Again, I know I did kick it in the chase with the bot, but let's be honest, gang. If I had more feedback on what certain mechanics were in effect, she wouldn't have self-unhooked. I thought I was able to mori the person on the ground, right? The only reason that even happened to begin with is because of, you could say, a lack of communication between both the mechanics within the game and what's available to the killer player. Whether or not that's for good or bad is a whole other point of discussion, gang. That's not at all the point of what I'm saying here, right? It's really kind of irrelevant in the grand scheme of things that a bot forced me to kick one pallet. That's not at all what I'm trying to say here, gang. You know, I just wanted to kind of point out the fact that we basically played against 4 human players and won the match, right? Without kicking any pallets. A big, large part because of Blighted Serum. So, really, really great. I, really had a lot more fun with this than I expected. I've got one more match for y'all. This one is going to be on Grim Pantry, and it was going to be more frustrating. I'll go ahead and say that right now, just so y'all are aware ahead of time. Not just because of the state of the game. Y'all saw the sweet, you're about to see the sour, because DBD can be very sour. If you've seen any of my other previous videos where I've talked about the state of the game, I'm not having fun in a lot of them, and this is one kind of in that category, but still I was able to do very well because of the serum, and for that reason, why I wanted to showcase it for you guys. Bit off today. Forgot to plug in my controller. Shit. Yeah, we're gonna be behind. Oh my. Bruh. Alright, here we go. I had my controller unplugged because we were playing Mega Bonk. Oh shit! She's gonna go far right. She's gonna take window. I actually didn't think she had live. Forgive me, I haven't played in a couple days. I'm gonna just break, chase, rotate. I definitely gonna hit that if I waited out the live, though. Might as well pick it, I guess. Yeah, no, I thought that was just your standard window vault play into the combination. See, like, look at this shit, by the way. I'm over here like, tee-hee, let me play clown and go for speed haste build. We're already about to hit 2 gens, y'all, and I haven't even gotten a fucking health state. And my fucking boomer-ass fucking thumbs misplacing my bottles. And I don't have any bottles now. Bro, this is actually fucking comical as shit. Holy fuck. It's crazy. But hey, we added more pallets. Haven't even had a chance to kick a pallet yet, by the way, dude. Holy fucking shit. I'm not gonna lie, dude. This was off stream. I straight up pull up the Mega Bonk right now. Holy bro, oh my gosh, this fucking episode. We're like 2 minutes into the game for 1 health state. What, like, who in their right mind would play this fucking game otherwise? That gen's popping anyways, no matter what, by the way. Oh, dude, you're not gonna actually tell me I don't have a hook. I was about to say, dude, if I don't get a hook here, I am going AFK. I ain't playing the rest of that shit out. Fuck that. Like, nah, dude. This game needs to fucking turn into something else, because I ain't taking the rest of it seriously if this is how it's gonna fucking be, dude. Like, this game literally is in such a shit state. Oh, it's an Nancy. We'll take that. Are we just gonna body block this biscuit? Thank you. I'll take that. Oh, well, not exactly who I wanted, but I guess who we're going for, am I right? I have to play this infernal ass fucking tile. Thankfully, she runs right into me. Holy shit. Thank you, Magnificent. Thank you. Sorry, let's see. Remember, I do have a rush. Honestly, I'm probably just gonna, like, basically kick this and waste time and then rush back to hook. I expect someone to come in while I'm doing this, probably. She probably thinks I'm gonna, like... There we go. Honestly, I'll just kick this and get ready to rush back to hook. Because remember, I do have rush. I can't just use my power right now. Can I get play with your food? Pretty sure I saw Steve. Perfect. Play with your food acquired. So this is going to give me play with your food with my Blighted Serum. I want to see if I can start another chase. Honestly, we'll still have it one time. We'll have one stack of it. And probably should rush at this point, to be honest. She's going to vault if she's smart. Yeah, I was about to say. She popped her... That has to be a styptic. If it's not a styptic, she has nothing. There we go. Damn, I really can't even use... I'll just try to see if I can use it to close distance. There's just so... Here's the problem with the serum, y'all. There's so many fucking pallets, and so many of them are actually, like, decent enough to where you literally can't just, like, play like an M1. To where it's like, I have to get my serum out the way, right? Like, I have to just waste my serum and play as if I'm playing with one add-on. Because it's kind of like, I just got nothing else going for me because of just how many fucking pallets there are. Sprint burst into that. Let me see if I can get someone over here. I'm gonna try to see if I can get play with your food. Can I even get play with your food? Like, look at how long it takes to start a chase here. There we go. At least I get that. I'll just go ahead and pick this, I guess. Damn. Sadly, I couldn't exactly block with it. Oh, look at that! I'm actually using my power now, buddy! Crazy what happens when I'm out just playing like a killer with no power, am I right? There we go. Go ahead and get this nice little XC over here in this corner. OG mind game. I mean, yeah, it was pretty straightforward, you know what I mean? To be fair, though, we hadn't really used our power against her, like, all game. Because, like, we literally, you know, we're playing, like, heavy into the serum here. You know, just for the fun and the memes. Let's see. Yeah, no progress even on that gen. I'm hoping that that's Steve, so I can get play with your food. No, it's not. It's Nancy. Let's see. Oh my gosh, my fucking boomer thumb slipped off. I'm gonna go around on the outside because I expect her to either camp it from this or take the window, as she does, and we're just gonna keep rotating left. Yeah, I go back all the way. That, or she's gonna play outside check, or she's gonna abandon tile. Be hard commit because she's gonna see the yellow, and that's gonna definitely encourage her because she thinks I'm gonna be out of position for it. She has sprint burst and no dead hard. There we go. No! Put that tree there! Bro, she would have been dead to rights. And look at that, she's got another pallet right here, doesn't she? There we fucking go. Hey, yo, slow-mo was cracking. You have an FAQ? Yeah, you can ask whatever you want. I do have a really incomplete FAQ in my guide. Exclamation mark guide. Thanks for the play with the food stack, my guy. Oh, sweet. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. Oh shit, alright, I'm just gonna get this out of the way. You can only vault it so many times, so we're just gonna do that. Make sure the yellow is positioned out of the way. She's not gonna actually vault, she's gonna rotate this time. Oh my gosh, breaking her thumbs, but it's okay. Good chase, GG's. And she's not too bad, gang, but you know, once we got the power back and we use the what to get that Alright, let's see. Alright, where are they at, though? They don't have collision! I just realized survivors don't have collision. So you might be able to abuse that. Oh shit. We get this. Oh my fucking gosh, let's fucking go, dude! Holy shit, let's go! Oh my gosh! The fucking serum play! Oh my gosh! No, fuck. I didn't think I'd be able to more. I thought because he had been hooked in or something. I don't fucking know. We'll take the hooks, gang. Yeah, sorry, PG. Oh man, that was great. Yo. This day, you well played. Damn. Good thing we didn't tunnel the people with the anti-tunnel perks. Yo, we literally bet it all on black. Thankfully, we didn't go on red. Double DS, no DS. DS and off the record, actually. Damn. So unlike the first match, I think this one did a really good job of showing for you guys exactly what the problems are when it comes to the Blighted Serum in the current, 2025 DBD. It wasn't like this last year when I used Blighted Serum because there weren't nearly as many pallets. And that is a big deal. It means that not only are the tiles themselves filling up that dead space, which means that you don't really have the line of sight or the angles for you to get the full distance out of your Blighted Serum, but it also means that you aren't really able to get the most out of capitalizing off of the Blighted Serum, which is denying a survivor from making it to a tile that they otherwise would have been able to reach without it, right? So catching a survivor in a dead zone, denying them from their one and only window or pallet. This was something that in 2024, Blighted Serum was really, really good at doing. And we were able to, accomplish it a bit better on the Ormond, right? The deep mine, but Grim Pantry, not so much. Grim Pantry has all of these extra trees. It has these extra box loops. The main building doesn't really have any good angles for you to use the serum. Only really, I think, only back edge, but even then they have staircases, right? They have window vaults. They have all types of ways to get into the structure itself where using the Blighted Serum outside of the main building means that your recovery period following the serum rush is going to allow them to create enough distance for them for it not to matter. And that's kind of what I'm kind of trying to say here, right? Is that the Blighted Serum, I think, held us back in this match. Now, it did allow me to secure 4 kills right near the end, but I do think that when it comes to any definition of gimmick, this is probably the closest to that because, yes, it got me 4 kills, but this is an instance looking at Grim Pantry, right? I do think I probably would have played better if I had something like either 15% or a Garsh makeup kit, right? Something that would allow me to do what I'm already doing better because Blighted Serum isn't doing the job that I took it for, right? If, as I mentioned in the video or in the match, that there were just so many pallets that it's almost like I have to throw the Blighted Serum out early and play as if I have one add-on, that by definition means that I would be doing better if I brought something else. And that's kind of my whole point here, right? So yeah, it did kind of help me near the end and secure that 4 kills by stopping Steve from opening the exit gate. But I probably could have gotten 3 to 4 kills with 1 generator remaining, and thus the exit gate would have even been a factor if I had faster conventional chases from bringing a different add-on. And again, that's kind of what I'm trying to say here, right? This add-on is balanced, it has its own downsides, and compared to the first match, this should kind of give you guys a really good contrasting, comparison of what your experiences can be like, right? If you were to take this add-on. And another point too that I do want to mention, and this is more specific to this match and kind of even more to that point, right? Looking at how it hurts playing Clown using the Blighted Serum on maps where the Blighted Serum is ineffectual, is that imagine if in this match I tunneled the people who had anti-tunnel perks. I remarked at the end of the match during the post game that we just coincidentally happened to tunnel the very two survivors who did not have DS, and Nancy especially, right? She has DS and off the record. Imagine if I tunneled Nancy and I had to go through off the record into a DS. Imagine if I tunneled the Steve and I had to go through a DS, right, into whatever else. Maybe you had Sprint Burst coming off of cooldown or whatever. You get what I mean, gang? The point is that this match could have been even worse than what we had when it comes to outcome, and the outcome itself being partial gimmick, right, really underscores or showcases why this isn't just an I win add-on. You have to be very, you have to understand how to use it well. You have to get a match where it is probably more favorable, and perhaps the build too. Maybe if I had some different perks in my build, perhaps things would have also played out differently, right? Even just some passive generator slowdown would have meant that the problematic early game that I had where I wasn't able to get some health states, that wouldn't have translated into such early generator progress. So that's one thing to consider. If I had Blood Favor or Undying, then those pallets that the survivors had, even though the tiles themselves would have prevented some of my rushes, I wouldn't have had to worry about the pallets, right? Just different things to take into account and think about here, right? But, overall, I love the Blighted Serum. I think it's very fun to use. I think it is good, right, to use as well. I would place it relatively high on a Clown add-on tier list, probably anywhere from B tier or above, just because of the influence it is able to play into a match, right, when you are able to use it well. The only reason I would keep it from being super duper high is the downsides, because those downsides do matter, gang. Remember that you are limited on not being able to use your power until you serum. So both the decision-making aspect and also just the inherent limitation of playing M1 with only the serum and not your power as Clown when you're lacking map mobility, right? All of that does matter when it comes to gauging the overall strength of an add-on and ranking it. So just my overall thoughts there. I hope y'all really like these matches and my thoughts on this add-on in this video. I highly encourage y'all yourselves, while the time is still there, to take advantage of this add-on while you can. Whether you're playing on Clown, whether you're playing on any other different killer, some killers probably would have better synergy with the Blighted Serum, right? Clown is able to reload his bottles while he has the serum available, so I imagine that there are some killers who can use some small part of their power and rush at the same time, meaning that they have better synergy with it again. So really, really look into that while you can. Hopefully behavior will eventually make the serum usable, year long, given that it does have downsides. I've always thought that would be fair, so crossing our fingers that, who knows, maybe they do change their mind on that. But other than that, I hope y'all really enjoyed this video. If you're interested in learning how to play Clown better, I'll have a very detailed Clown guide that I'll be sure to link in the description. And, I also do stream live on Twitch during the weekdays, typically Monday, Tuesdays, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. All really depends nowadays on how I'm feeling and all that jazz. But I will have a link to my stream in the description as well. And lastly, if you also like this video, I'd really appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe, not just for yourself so you know when I post new videos, but also because it really helps me out a lot with the YouTube algorithm. It pushes my videos to more people, which means I'm able to talk about the game and help teach more people about it, which is what I like the most about making videos and what I strive to do. So on that, I hope y'all really enjoyed this video, and I'll see y'all next time. Later, gang.